this would be an introduction of the country India for the Afro-Asian Literature class. So, hello. I am the goddess Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth, beauty, fertility, fortune, and luck. So, I grant the mortals' wishes by raising my hands, blessing them and granting them. I'm usually described as whimsical and maternal. I don't know why. I grant them the promise of material fulfillment and contentment. So here I am with Vishnu meeting Shiva in Parvati. So today we will be learning the common stereotypes associated with India and what India is known for, India's profile, the religions in India, and the literature in India, and the references. So bear with me as we go along today's lessons. So, when we imagine India, we think of firstly Bollywood. Yeah, the Three Idiots, uh, Every Child is Special. But this movie industry is actually quite big. It started in 1930s and it has evolved into a massive film industry that is known worldwide, internationally. It's full of upbeat songs and dance as portrayed here. And when we think of India, we also think of this man, yung nakamotor. We call them Bombay, the 5-6 Bombay. But actually, Bombay or Bombay is a place in India. It's a city in India, which is now presently called Mumbai. So there's no person called Bombay, but it's actually a place. We also think of India as that, yung mga may red dot sa ulo. We think it's related to married woman lang yung may red dot, but actually this red dot or bindi as they call it is a practice related to their religion where they acknowledge the connection of their soul Jivatma and their gods. And this practice is also done during marriage. Yung husband na maglalagay niyan dito sa noo ng wife niya to acknowledge the awakening of the chakra related to marriage. Hindu people also do this when they're about to pray, either if they're men or women. And the red dot depends, the design ng red dot depends on the religious sect or tribe kung saan sila nakasama. So, when we think of India, we also think of Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal, which was Shah Jahan's show of dedication to his late wife. We also think of yoga na nauso ngayong quarantine. So, when we think of India, we might think of all these stereotypes, but India is also known for their maths. Algebra, trigonometry, calculus was invented in India. The decimal system and place value also originated in India. The value of pi was first calculated by the Indian mathematician Budayana. You didn't know that, did you? And chess and snakes and ladders was invented in India. Yung snakes and ladders, it was invented in 13th century by a poet saint called Gwande, and it was originally called Mokshapat. The ladders represent virtues and the snakes indicated vices. India is known for the Festival of Color, which signifies the victory of good over evil and marks the beginning of their spring. So, it's usually celebrated in March, which corresponds to the Hindu calendar month of Palguna. So, in 2021, in March, it will be celebrated on March 8th. On the eve of Holi, they light big fires to indicate na nagburn na yung evil spirit and all that. And on the day, sa streets, people throw colored powder on everybody, on and each other. So each color also signifies something. So red for love and fertility, while green for new beginnings. And they also throw water on each other. Like yung festival sa mga Filipino, which is Wata-Wata ng San Juan, and also like the Songkran of Thailand. So India is also known for Diwali, which is the Indian festival of lights, which lasts for 5 days and marks the start of the Hindu New Year. So this festival is celebrated by Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, by everyone, and the date changes every year, depending on the position of the moon. So what they do is they light candles and lamps to honor the Hindu goddess of wealth, me, Lakshmi. So it is said na yung lights help me, Lakshmi, find their way into the people's home to bring prosperity into the new year na paparating. India is also known for Mahatma Gandhi. He was a lawyer and an activist, and he was the leader of a national movement against British rule. Kilala siya for his doctrine of non-violence or satyagraha. So, this is India. India, or the Republic of India, officially known in Hindi as Bharat Ganraya or Bharat Ganraji, sabi ni YouTube. So the capital is New Delhi, and they are a sovereign socialist democratic republic with a parliamentary system of government, which means the president is the head of the state while the prime minister is the head of the government. They also have 80 spoken languages and 20 written languages. They have 22 official languages na kasama sa kanilang constitution. So India has a population of 1.2 billion people as of March 2011. 80.5% of those are Hindus, while 13.4% are Muslims, and the rest are consisting of Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Jains. So that's India. So here are the 22 official languages na nasa Indian Constitution. There we go. Those are their languages. Oh, where's the one? There. Urdu. This is India's flag. It has 3 colors, which are Indian saffron, turmeric, white, and Indian green. The navy blue in the center represents the chakra, which is based naman from the sculpture Sarnath Lion Capital na nasa Ashoka. Yeah, so they only started using this in July 22, 1947. So here is their emblem, or in Filipino, yung sagisag. This is the state emblem of India, which is also an adaptation from the sculpture Sarnath Lion Capital na nasa Ashoka, India. So this depicts yung Sarnath Lion Capital, it depicts 4 lions na nasa taas ng isang frieze or horizontal band of architecture. Na yung band na yon merong abacus, yung bull sa kanan, and yung horse sa kaliwa. Here we can see the chakra and the bull on the right and the horse on the left. So they use the emblem on their certificates, their government offices, and all that. So here is the Sarnath Lion Capital na nasa Ashoka. It's one of the most important Buddhist temple in India. That's why it's very much part of their country's identity. So this is the sculpture where the emblem and the flag was based from. And this is a stupa. A stupa is, since this is a temple, this is a temple. The Sarnath Lion Capital is a temple. So a stupa, this hill, is an important form of Buddhist architecture. Although it's older than the Buddhism religion, it's important for that religion. So it's considered as a monument na pwedeng libingan or lagayan ng important religious objects. There we go. That's stupa. So, the national symbols of India are, for its flower, it's the lotus flower, which occupies a unique position in their art and mythology. They consider it lucky or auspicious. So, national tree is the banyan tree, which is considered immortal kasi yung roots nila grow from the branches and it goes downwards. So, it's like that. So, integral part din ng myths and legends nila ang banyan tree. So, even today, the banyan tree is the focal point of the village life, and the village elders or council will meet under the shade of this tree. Their national bird is the peacock, and their national animal is the Bengal tiger. So those are the national symbols of India. So, for the Indus Valley. So, between 5000 and 2000 BCE, from ancient Civ, I know na-discuss na to sa inyo if you listened. So, people flock to the rivers kasi this is where the land are fertile. So, dito sila agriculture, nag-farm, dito sila nag-build ng towns kasi dito may signs of life. So, the known towns dun sa Indus Valley are Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. So, ayan. So, dun sila nagsama-sama. And then, moving forward, in the 1500 BCE, yung mga nag-mix-mix na culture ng people doon sa Indus Valley region, yung naging pinakaangat sa kanila was the Indo-Aryan culture. Ito yung nag-dominate. Dito din, in this era, dito din natin ina-associate yung Sanskrit and the Veda texts, which were all written in this period. So, the Veda texts are one of the important bases ng Hinduism religion. Moving forward, these were considered as their early and their classical period of India. So, Islam came to India in the 8th century, and nagkaroon din ng mga bagong religions like Buddhism and Jainism, which was founded along this era. So, in 4th century BCE naman, nagkaroon sila ng classical period under Chandragupta II. He established his dynasty, and under the Gupta dynasty, art and literature flourished. So, nagkaroon sila ng classical period. After that came the medieval period, which was characterized by the growth of regional centers and lack of one national power. So, nagkaroon sila ng mga centers, nagkaroon ng kingdoms doon, and because of that, mas madali silang na-invade from everywhere, from all sides. So, after medieval period came the Mughal Empire. So, because nga na-invade sila, madali silang na-invade, madali silang na-control nung mga Mughal. The Mughal Empire in 1526 was established by Babur. He was a Turkish or Central Asian chief. And during this era, he achieved political unity. Pinagsama-sama niya India under one monarch, which was him and his descendants after him. So this empire introduced efficient public administration, good infrastructures, and they also promoted the arts. In this era, tinayo yung Taj Mahal ni Shah Jahan. There we go. And then came the British rule. They first came as traders, then they became the invaders. So they capitalized on the disintegration na nangyari after mag-fall yung Mughal Empire. So they took interest sa resources ng India, which were cotton, spices, silk, and tea. Everybody loves tea. So there. So nangyari ang World War happened. Under pa rin nun ang India. Ganun sila katagal hawak ng British. to the point na yung mom ni Queen Elizabeth, siya yung last Empress of India. Considering na Queen Elizabeth is still alive, that's just like very recently. So we go to modern India, which took place from 1947 onwards. So in August 15, 1947, India became a free nation, but it declared itself as a sovereign democratic republic state on January 26, 1950 kasi dun sila nagkaroon na ng kanilang sariling constitution. Religions. Bakit important ang religions sa India? Because religion in India is more publicly visible than most English-speaking Western country, and it has influenced the Indian society on almost a political, cultural, and economic level. And for them, para sa mga Indians, mayroong sense of pride kasi yung religious history nila and traditions ay nakaangkla sa India because these religions started in India mismo. So it's like a thing of pride for them. Where, in contrast, to illustrate, for example, the Philippines, religions were brought into the country, unlike India na dun talaga nag-originate. Religions in India, the first is Hinduism, na may pinakamaraming believers at 80% of the population. Their core belief is samsara or rebirth, karma, and the Vedas, which was for them was the ultimate authority. This affects everybody's daily life. Meron silang festivities, artistic works, images ng gods and goddesses sa public places, and all that. Pero pinaka-importante is yung influence ng caste system. So, each caste has a specific duty. Bawal kang kumontra dun sa duty na yun. And hereditary din yung duty, yung caste mo. So, the castes there are 5. Actually, there are 4 officially, pero may isang extra. So, there's the Brahmins, which was the religious sector. This is where you can find priests, teachers of religion, and all that. Kshatriyas, which were the security sectors, police force, barangay tanod, military, they all came from this caste. And then Vashya for the business or the merchants, for the artists, for the businessmen. And the last one is Shundra, which were the commoners, the manual laborers. Sila yung mga janitor, parang ganun. And the 5th one are the untouchables or the caseless. Mga ganun. Okay, you might think na 80% lang naman eh. There might be other people not affected by caste, but that's it. India has 1.2 billion people and 80% of that is 900 million. And considering 900 million will impact a country kahit na hindi sila yung totally whole. So, majority wins. Something like that. Another religion in India is Islam. Their core belief is their belief on the Prophet Muhammad and Allah. So, Islam largely influenced India's architecture and artistry. And also, the Muslim community in India contributed to the theological research and expansion of universities in India. A fact I'd like to share, Muslim couple yung nakadiscover ng vaccine na ginagawa ng BioNTech with Pfizer. Pero hindi sila Indians though. They're Turkish. Just sharing. So this is an example of a street in India na painted with Hindu gods graffiti. And painted saffron. This is actually nireklamo siya ng mga kapitbahay niya kasi pininturahan niya yung street nila ng orange. Impacts of Islam in India's architecture. This is Taj Mahal, if I'm not mistaken. These are Islamic influences. Another religion na common in India is Sikhism. Their core belief is public service, humility, and equality. They believe in a one God na formless. So they are a monotheistic religion. They encourage their followers to help the less fortunate. The religion most common in India is Buddhism. Their core belief is that one can be liberated from the suffering of the life and death cycle, which is samsara, through the Noble Eightfold Path. Buddhism was a counter movement to the early Hinduism na Buddhism believes na merong universal ethic rather than dapat mo lang i-base yung ethic mo sa individual case. So, naniniwala sila na everybody deserves to be redeemed or something like that. Nagkaroon din ng rise ng believers sa Buddhism because of the untouchable case. They found na yung Buddhism might be a good alternative because untouchables nga sila sa Hinduism, so lumipat sila. This is a Sikh, a believer of Sikhism. He wears a turban. There we go. And these are Buddhist monks in a Buddhist temple in Sarnath. Hello. The religion popular in India is Jainism. Their core belief is the ethical practice of ahimsa, or non-harm and non-violence. Jains uphold this ethical principle in everything. They are vegans, they are pro-animal welfare, and all that. So, Jainism was also established as a counter-movement to early Hinduism. Another religion is Christianity. So, Christianity's core belief is their belief in their prophet, Jesus Christ, and they believe in their God, in one God, which is called God. So, converts are usually from minorities, such as the lower castes and the tribal groups. So, these are Jains. These are Digambara nuns. Digambara nuns. And they wear simple white clothes to signify their faith. And they wear masks, as you should. There's a pandemic happening. They wear masks, so kahit na yung little insects in the air, they won't be able to kill. So that's their belief of non-harm and non-violence. This is an example of a Christian church in India. It's the Church of Saint Sebastian. This is the literature. So for India, which is a very large population and 80 spoken languages and 20 written languages, is very complex and very complicated to box yung literature nila, but we will try. So the Indian literary tradition is one of the oldest in the world. It was like all ancient literature, sabi sa Anglo, it was oral primarily. It was oral in nature and usually in verse. So the earliest works were meant to be sung, recited, and were transmitted from generations to generations before siya sinulat, before it was written down. So, ancient Indian literature is was characterized daw as an inquiry daw ng mga unang tao about questions about life, death, and nature. So, itong pagtatanong nila, like, ginawa nilang kanta, ginawa nilang verses, and this was passed down in the gurukuls or schools na only for monarch at the time. And ganon, orally pa rin nilang pinapasa. So, that's ancient Indian literature. Modern Indian literature naman, if the ancient Indian literature were mostly about inquiry about life, modern Indian literature mirrors the ongoing Indian society and the people associated with it. Later on, we will discuss this further on. So, works in India uses this idea, which is mga ladini, mga lamadyani, and mga laantani, which translates to an auspicious beginning, auspicious middle, and auspicious end. Auspicious is defined as lucky. This has been the guiding principles ng Indian work, ng literature in India. So the writers always keep this in their mind. We will discuss this idea further. So Sanskrit language. What is Sanskrit language? Sanskrit language is one of the most ancient language in the world. It's one of the oldest language, with Tamil, which also originated in India, as one of the oldest. So it was the liturgical or the holy language of Hinduism. Liturgical meaning they use this in their traditions, in their rituals, in their writings, and all that. So, this language has also one of the earliest written literature in the world, which were the Vedas. So, Sanskrit language, however, was limited to a small number of people. Kasi yung pundit or pandit, which were the teachers of knowledge in Hinduism, hindi siya pinapayagan dumating or makareach dun sa common people. Kasi daw, masyado daw siyang special. So, the lower castes and the common people, di sila pwedeng makinig na nire-recite ito. So, they have to listen dun sa mga translation na lang. So, Sanskrit literature is defined naman as the literary works written in Sanskrit. It first came from an oral tradition ng Aryans, na yung Aryans minemorize nila lahat bago nila ito sinulat. This was the Sanskrit literature. Examples of Sanskrit literature are the Vedic texts. Vedas in Sanskrit means knowledge. So one of the Vedas was the Rig Veda, na merong praises and songs and 1,100 names addressed to various gods. Like me. So another examples are the epics. Most famous epic in India would be the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, which was translated into desi or regional languages. So kanina mention ko yung desi. What is desi and what is marga and what are they? So marga and desi, these are literary traditions or literary styles that largely affects and is affected by the Indian culture. Okay. So, marga, there we go, marga. This is considered as the great tradition. Great, with quotation marks. These are the traditions na reflected in the entire country. So, Filipinos, as a national identity, they are considered as hospitable by the foreigners. Yun yung marga nila. Pero yung desi, or the little traditions, or local traditions, we consider them as the Batangueños na mapag-smile, the Ilocanos na magaling magluto daw. I don't know. I might be getting it wrong. Pero ganun. That's the idea. Meron silang national identity, pero at the same time, meron silang community identity. Marga is the national identity and desi is the community identity. I hope you got it. So, marga is largely centered in cities and palaces. So, it's only for the mayayaman, for the elite. It was maintained by the educated elite. Marga is identifies with the major religious systems. So, yung Upanishads, Vedic texts, they are considered marga. And marga has all of this. It has a linguistic style na closely related to the Sanskrit literature, which was the prosodic patterns, which means they are rhythmic, they are poetic patterns na nakikita usually sa Sanskrit literature. They are not sung or recited easily, and they are considered high art. So yeah. So ayun nga. They are more of a classical literature, and only scholars can enjoy the tiny nuances of their poetic expressions. Desi, on the other hand, these are localized in small villages. They are the literal traditions na nasa villages and communities na maintained by the peasant class or the lower class. Not necessarily sobrang mahirap, pero nasa lower class. So, they are the regional language variations ng marga. Since India has 22 official languages, those languages have their own adaptations nung Sanskrit literature or nung classical literature nila. And that is desi. Okay? So, meron silang classical literature, tas translate nila ito sa kanya-kanyang lengguwahe and kanya-kanyang um, style and variation depending dun sa lengguwahe, depending dun sa community, and that is desi. So desi doesn't necessarily mean na it's low class, it's cheap. No. Si desi lang, it's a microcosm nung identity nila, whereas marga, it's the macrocosm. That's just the difference. It doesn't necessarily mean na marga is better or desi it's better. No. They're just, differences in style. While marga is not singable, desi is singable and communicable. And it's based on sa rhythm and patterns nung community, nung locality. Marga daw is the front yard. Yun yung may structured place, yung may magandang pillars, may magandang door. Whereas, si desi daw, ito daw yung backyard kung saan pumupunta yung mga women of the village para kumuha ng tubig o kaya magtsikahan. For Comalesha, yun yung metaphor na naisip niya para ipakita yung marga and desi. Again, nothing is more. Pareha silang importante. It's just that marga encompasses the nation's identity as a whole, while desi encompasses the local villages, the small communities ng India. So yeah. So Indian literature. Indian literature is defined as any of the literature written in the 22 official languages recognized by the Sahitya Academy or the India's National Academy of Letters. Yung Sahitya Academy, that's academy, this is an organization na dedicated to the promotion of literature in the languages of India. So, Indian literature, whether it's desi or whether it's marga, basta nakasulat in the 22 official languages na recognized ni Sahitya Academy, it's in the previous slides, it's considered Indian literature. Okay, I will have a point later. So, usually, ang themes ni Indian literature ay romance, society, either it's a tragedy or a comedy, or it's mythological or epical. So, these are examples of the famous Indian literature writers. So, this is Kamala Das. She is a famous poet, and she wrote in English and in the Malayalam language. So, pag nagsulat siya sa Malayalam language, she used the pseudonym Madhavikuti. So, she broke taboos with her early poetry because she discussed yung liberation ng mga babae from sexual and domestic oppression. This is another example of Indian literature. Yes, please just read the slide. Another example of Indian literature writer is Mahasweta Devi. She was a Bengali social activist and writer. Etong mga sinasabi kong Malayalam, Bengali, these are their languages ha. Okay. She focused on telling the tales naman and injustices of the marginalized community, yung mga oppressed. And her work, Rudali, was considered one of her most known works. It talked about the women na nasa lower caste in Rajasthan, a city in India. Another writer is Ismat Chugtai. She was a champion of woman empowerment and was considered as one of the great dame of Urdu fiction. Urdu is a language. Sa novel niya na Teddy Lakir, she talked about taboo themes of child sexuality, lesbianism, and abortion. And she was remembered for giving importance to women issues that was usually swept under the rug. She stated that experiences can never be obscene or be a taboo if they are based on authentic realities of life. So this is Ismat Chugtay. Here we go on sa modern Indian literature in English. Bakit may distinction, you might ask? So kanina, we describe Indian literature as any of the literature written in the official 22 language in India. And hindi dun kasama ang English. They make a distinction, a very, very specific distinction, na ito ang Indian literature, ito ang Indian literature in English. There's a wall. So, why it matters? Because in Philippine literature, they don't make a distinction either kung sinulat ito sa Filipino o sinulat ito sa English. For example, Dekada 70 is written in Filipino, while Footnote to the Youth is written in English. But both are considered Philippine literature. Pero sa India, magkahiwalay. So there is an Indian literature and an Indian literature in English, or Indo-Anglo tawag nila. So this literature started nung ginawa ang Civil Service Training School and the printing press in the early 19th century. So nung under pa sila ng British rule. So nationalist leaders like Mahatma Gandhi influenced the social realism in the earlier part of the century. This affected yung writing at that era. So, Western literary influences and philosophies yung nag-produce nung pagbabago or cultural revival sa literature nila. So, works then were about their freedom, yung struggle nila sa pagkuha ng kanilang liberty, yung pagtanggal ng social evils, ganun. Ganun yung themes nung work at the time. So, ngayon naman, yung 20th century writing, it's more of a sentimental romanticism naman daw nung 18th century. So, yun. So, bakit merong gap? Okay. Nung sila ay nagsastruggle for their liberty, meron silang idea na pinanghawakan. And this idea was the desi, desabaki. This is an idea that brought a great awakening during India's struggle to liberate themselves. This is patriotism. This idea. Yung pagka-patriotism naman, it equate into India not liking foreign views. So modern Indian literature in English were viewed with mixed feelings in the post-independence India. Kasi nga, they don't like foreign views, foreign influences in their literature. So, yung Bharatiyata, which is Indianness, yung common identity, good thing, but it created that gap. It's either you're an Indian or you're not an Indian. Parang ganun. Kaya nila, hindi gusto yung mga foreign works. Kaya nagkaroon ng distinction sa Indian literature written in English and Indian literature per se. Some of the common themes ng modern Indian literature in English was feminism. Nagkaroon ng works na women-centered na merong ng perspective from the feminine consciousness and sensibility. Nagkaroon na rin sila ng works about their pressing socio-economic problems, which was about the plight of the working class, plight of the working class, the lower castes, the oppressed, and the marginalized. They also have works about the political issues due to India's independence. Since they gained their independence, they expected na magbabago na ang lahat. Pero hindi. Ganun pa rin. There are also works na sa modern Indian literature in English, there are works whose themes are about the issues ng family relations. Common sa India ang extended family ties. So, They have works for that. There are also works na about the East and West encounter, yung incompatibilities and comparisons, contrasts ng East, which is India, and West, which is Britain, for the encounters. Also, there are works about urbanization and yung reality versus expectations ng pagtira sa rural areas, sa urban areas. So these are examples of Indian English literature. This is a work of Arundhati Roy in cultural classes of the problems of being a woman. Her works are considered part of the Indo-Anglo Renaissance. Si Gita Hariharan. So those are examples of Indo-Anglo literature. Next are, excuse me, let's move me. Okay. According to Deepak 2011 and Gupta ng 1994, wala daw masyadong variation in theme or genre. Sabi, since walang yun at yun lang din daw. Wala daw metafiction, walang science fiction, walang utopia, walang dystopia, etc., etc. Because writers since the prehistoric age tried to mirror kung ano yung nasa society nila. So, writers always think yung idea nung auspicious start, auspicious middle, auspicious ending, lucky, lucky, lucky. They think na bear in mind kung ano yung nangyari previously sa community nila and the consequences na mangyayari kapag pinublish nila yung work nila. So that kinda hinders yung writers kasi hindi sila nagmo-move out of their society and they only publish kung ano yung mini-mirror. They only publish works that mirror their society. They don't do out of this world creations. Indian literature mostly mirrors the ongoing Indian society and the people associated in it. So it mirrors their marga and desi, it mirrors their language, it mirrors the themes na common sa kanilang society, but it doesn't go out of that, unfortunately. If you watch this video, I have left little clues along the way for you to solve itong coming puzzle. This puzzle is only makikita sa video. Wala po ito sa slides. So if you're watching this video, paki-screenshot ito. Mag-pause ka, tapos i-screenshot mo to. Like, ngayon na. Wait. Oh my god. Next. Ta-da! Screenshot this. Ta-da! And using my slides, I left clues there. I've left clues. You just have to fill in the blanks and tell me kung sino ang one of the writers in India. On our next meeting, magkakaroon ka ng 2 points. And trust me, that 2 points is life and death. So please go back sa ating video or sa slides na sinend ko sa ating group and you will see ang clues na iniwan ko. Solve this puzzle and tell me kung anong sagot sa ating next meeting. That's it. Thank you for listening. This is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune and luck. Bye!